Hello and welcome back to Culinary Haven. Today we're making spinach and salmon roll. It's absolutely perfect as an appetizer or as a light lunch, and it will look very impressive when you're entertaining your guests. Let's begin. To make spinach and salmon roll, we will need 240 grams of spinach, 3 very large eggs, 100 grams of plain flour and a pinch of salt. That's for the sponge. And for the filling, we'll need 2 tubs of cream cheese, 250 grams or thereabouts of smoked salmon, 1 pepper and a couple of sprigs of spring onion. And we'll start with making the batter for the sponge. To make the sponge, we will need a couple of electrical appliances. First of all, we need either an electric whisk or a stand mixer with a whisk attachment. We need to whisk the eggs until they're thick and pale, and I'm going to use an electric handheld whisk for that. And then for the spinach, we need to blitz it. You can use an electric stick immerser or you can use a food processor. We need to blitz it until it's liquid. You know how it is with spinach. It looks like an awful lot and then there is next to nothing left when it's done. So we had a whole bowl of spinach and now we have just a little bit of spinach puree at the bottom of the bowl. So we had a whole bowl of spinach leaves here, and now this is all we have after it's been pureed. But a small bowl, but that's plenty and that's enough for what we need. And now we're going to whisk the eggs until they're thick and pale. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. And now we're going to whisk it. I'll show you when to stop. So that's about the consistency we're looking for. They're very thick, it's at least tripled in volume, if not more. It's foamy, pale and thick. And now we're going to add the pureed spinach to this mixture. And whisk it all together. So this is the consistency now. You can see it's all very airy, lovely and absolutely gorgeous. That's another thing about spinach. Unlike any other vegetable, not only it's a superfood and very good for you, it also doesn't change its color regardless how long you cook it. It will still remain bright green after any time of cooking. Very, very, very beautiful. Now we're going to sift in the flour, 100 grams of plain flour, and gently fold it in. We're not going to use an electric whisk. We don't want to deflate the eggs. We'll just gradually and very gently fold it in with a rubber spatula. And the last bit, always sift your flour. It gets air into it, and which also helps when you bake. Just until combined and you don't see any dry flour, stop. That is it now. And now we're going to pour this batter, very well greased with softened butter, baking parchment. I'm using this tray. It's 30 by 40 centimeters. So let's do that. Pour it all in. It's almost like making a Swiss roll, but savory. No sugar, but plenty of other good things. And now we're going to spread it all over the baking tray. I'm using an offset spatula, very handy. If you see a little bits of flour, don't worry about that, just cover it with the mixture. That will be fine. Just spread it evenly. That's another bit. But it's better to have little specks of flour unexpectedly than to over mix it, and then it will be just very tough and dry. This one won't. So that's that. Nice. And now we're going to bake it in the preheated to 180 degrees Celsius oven for about 10 to 12 maybe minutes. Check after 10. If it's firm to touch, it's ready. And I also want to mention that before you start, as you can see, it didn't take long at all to prepare the batter. So before you start making the batter, turn your oven on. With our sponge in the oven, we're going to prepare the filling. We'll start with chopping very finely the spring onion and the pepper. I'm actually going to make them even smaller and chop it as finely as you can. And now the pepper. Cut it into very thin strips, and then into tiny cubes. I think it's quite large pepper, so it might be enough. I will add the cream cheese and mix it together and then see if we need any more pepper. You can also add some capers, about a tablespoon of small capers. My son doesn't like them and he's visiting, so I'm not adding them today, but I normally would. I like the flavor and I like the additional crunchy texture. A little bit of black pepper, and let's mix it together. I think that's enough. I'm not going to add any more pepper, but it's up to you. Half or a whole, and depends on the size of the pepper, of course. So that's the filling is ready now, and we will chop the salmon when we're assembling the roll. So it's been 11 minutes and the sponge is ready. It's firm to touch, it's very hot still, but obviously. But as you can see, it's still beautifully vibrant green. And I'm just going to invert it onto a board lined with parchment. Try it like this. Put the parchment on, put a cooling rack, and then turn it over. Like so. Take this off and peel the parchment, which obviously comes out very easily because we greased it with butter very well. And now we're just going to leave it and wait a few minutes until it goes down. It has to be cold completely. So now the last thing to do before we assemble our roll is to chop the salmon. By the way, this is a package of 250 grams of smoked salmon, and we'll see how much we need. We might not need all of it, and I'll tell you exactly how much I've used. So just cut it into wide strips and then into squares. Okay, I'll chop it all and then we'll see. Now the sponge is completely cold. Look how beautiful it is. It's just like a giant emerald, isn't it? Now I'm going to lift that and take the cooling rack out of it. First we're going to spread the filling. We put it all onto the sponge. And now we're just going to gently spread it all over, leaving about half an inch border all around, because we don't want it to spill out, which it will once we start rolling it up. How beautiful is this? Just can't get over that. We don't need to worry about this side. We can spread up to the very edge. Okay. And now we're going to just scatter pieces of salmon anywhere away, if you like, just so when we slice it, it's just in every slice and in every bite. I think that is enough. I think I used about 200 grams, so anywhere between 200 grams and 250 is fine. So I have this much left over. And now we're going to roll it up. It's like a little carpet. It's very soft and easy to bend. It will sort of crack, which is fine, and it doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. Roll it up. Like so. Looks very pretty, and don't worry about the cracks. It doesn't make it look any less attractive, and you won't see it anyway because we're going to slice it. Now we're going to wrap it in this parchment. Okay. And then we're going to wrap it in a large piece of cling film. Wrap it tight and put it in the fridge for at least an hour. 2 hours is even better for the roll to set, so it's very nicely slices and not falling apart. In the fridge for 2 hours. See you then. It's been 2 hours and we just got the roll out of the fridge, and let's see. I think it firmed up, but you need definitely 2 hours for it to be in the perfect shape. There you go. And now you'll need a very sharp knife so you don't flatten the roll, and also we'll wipe after each slice so we have a clean slices. Here we are. As you can see, it turned out very beautifully, and I can assure you it's just as delicious as it is beautiful. I really hope you try it, and if you do, let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this episode of Culinary Haven, and until next time, bye!